The headline, you're in Ottawa as I speak to you. The headline in the Globe and Mail is Canada's banks join Mark Carney, signalling shift from West fossil fuel dependency and delighting OPEC as well. Are we giving more power to nations who have got no intention in the short to medium term of giving up on their hydrocarbon reserves and extraction?
I would say the exact opposite. I mean, one of the critical things about renewables is the geographic distribution of renewables. Zero emission generation is much fairer. It's much broader. I mean, you just look at where the sun shines, where the biggest reserves are of that, where the wind blows, where there's hydropower and others. So this is changing the balance of energy. Yes, there is a role for a period of time of fossil fuels. There's also too many fossil fuels. Let me just repeat that again. I mean, it's an obvious point, but it bears repeating. So we need to make the decisions about which ones we are going to use over what period of time, consistent with the transition, and can do that in a way that keeps the balance, if you will, of energy power appropriately. And so this definitely rebalances the geopolitics of energy.
Mark, the quote from you is there's $150 trillion needed, up to $150 trillion needed over the next 3 decades. A vast amount of that is going to come from the private sector. But if governments carry on in the vein that they've carried on since you and I were at COP21 as well, we're not going to get the public sector commitment. And why should the private sector follow suit?
Well, so governments are doing some things right, clear objectives. For example, 18 months ago when the UK and Italy took over presidency of COP, less than a third of global emissions were covered by net zero commitments. Now it's 80%, more than 3/4. So they're doing that right. A series of measures are being put in place, whether it's carbon prices or fuel mandates, restrictions, moratoria on internal combustion engines. That's all helping with the adjustment. But do governments have to do more? Absolutely, they have to do more. Without question, there is a gap between ambition and policies. That's large. It needs to close. Governments should look at what the private financial sector is doing and know, and I underscore know, that the money is there for the transition, particularly if they take the steps necessary. And those steps very much include helping people to transition and supporting people as there are these very big changes in our economy.